on my way now. I'm on my way now. I'm on my way now. I'm on my way now.
Hey beautiful people, thank you so much for joining in for today's video. My name is Keri. I am the writer, vlogger, blogger behind KeriKavali.com. I write and speak about being a modern day stay-at-home mother and wife, all wrapped up in God's good grace and love. So if you are new to my channel, thank you so much for joining in for today's video. And if you already are a friend of mine, thanks so much for joining. It's great to have you here. Today's video is going to be, am I giving my child enough attention? All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. You clicked on this video because you are wondering to yourself if you give your child enough attention. If you are a newborn mom, you're probably thinking, do I give my baby enough attention? How do I give my child attention? I don't want to train my child or my baby to become attention seeking. I don't want to neglect them, but I don't have a lot of time during my day because maybe you're working outside of the home, or maybe you're at home full time, like the majority of the viewers that are watching this video are. But you still have a ton of housework. Maybe you're in school, maybe you have a side hustle. So although you're a stay-at-home mom, you know, you're probably not able to be right in front of your child's face all day. You're probably also wondering what giving attention to your child might look like, as far as what else can you do other than get on the floor and play with their toys with them. How much is too much and how much is too little. So I'm gonna go over as much as I know, just to give you some background on where I'm coming from with all of this information. I am a stay-at-home mom. I've been a stay-at-home mom for almost 8 years. I have a soon-to-be 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and I have a 2.5-year-old. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. You can see that I've come from a background where a mother was at home full-time with their children. I absolutely adore being at home full-time with my kids. It is literally the best thing that's ever happened to me. It has not been the easiest journey the entire time, I will say that. If you've seen my older videos, you'll know, like, it's been a struggle, you know, but that's what happens when you grow. When you're growing and you're learning, you're stretching, and there's a transition period, and there are times when it's not going to be easy, but that's for anything on this earth that is worth having, right? I love being able to be around my children as much as possible, pouring into them, teaching them, molding them as best as I can, and preparing them for the world that's going to meet them halfway in the middle of their lifespan eventually. I love raising my children and being very, very much in their world. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. First off, I will say all children need attention. And I know this is information, this is not new information. All children need attention at all ages. As long as they are your baby, as long as they are your child, they will always need attention. And I'm talking from newborn all the way to adulthood. Even your adult children need attention. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. A lot of people think that once my child is 18, like, and they're an adult, like, I don't need to be in their lives as much. You do, you should, and you should be checking up on your children. You should be trying to have a relationship with them. But every stage in a child's life, from the womb, newborn, all the way to adulthood, there's gonna be varying differences in how much attention you give, how that attention looks like, and the type of interaction that happens between you and the child. Especially as they get older, you're definitely going to want to give them that space and respect for their boundaries, but still, very much, you're definitely required to provide attention to your children. It doesn't matter if they're older, if they're 37, 40, they are always going to be your child. And I did mention that it is important, if you think about it, to give attention when the baby's in your womb, as a mother to be. If you're watching this, from the moment that you find out you're pregnant, you are to pay attention to that child. So there you'll start to see that paying attention to a baby, whether they're born or not yet born into this world, is going to look a little bit different for where they're at in their season in life. As soon as you are pregnant, you're going to be paying attention to what you eat, your feelings, how you're taking care of your body. your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be paying attention to the medications you take, and even the music you listen to, the movies that you watch, the shows that you watch, the habits that you do. You're not going to want to be smoking or doing drugs or drinking alcohol while you're pregnant. So those are ways that you pay attention to yourself and inadvertently pay attention to your child. That goes to show you that as soon as you are a mother, as soon as you are with child, that's when the attention starts to be given to the child. When you give your child the attention that they deserve and require, it helps them to develop in the best way, emotionally, cognitively, mentally, and physically. It provides them with mental stability and self-confidence. Trust and believe me, once your child gets older and old enough to start really thinking for themselves, and it can happen as young as 2 years old. As soon as they start walking and saying little words and talking, although their perspective of life is very small, you will start to see that they will attain that attention from someone somehow. So if you don't give that attention to your child, then they'll find it somewhere else. That's where you start getting that attention-seeking child, the attention-seeking teenager. When you're given attention, you're given support. And support is a life necessity. It's a survival necessity. Food, shelter, clothing, transportation, safety. These are necessities. And so these are ways to support a human being. So in order to get that support, you need the attention of someone. And if you don't get it, you will find it from someone else. And that's why we oftentimes see a lot of teenagers who, middle schoolers nowadays into the teenage age, who, if they're not getting it at home, they're gonna find a way to get that attention around their peers. So, just going to school, they'll try to be someone that they're not, or they'll try to fit into the clubs, the groups, and are willing to do anything that they can to be able to be accepted. They're gonna find it some way, somehow, and that's the part that is concerning, because when they're not getting it from their parents, then they're probably going to be willing to do it, whatever they can, to get that attention and support from someone else. And that's how you get a lot of kids that go and, get tied up in gangs, get tied up in delinquency at school, getting bad grades because they just can't focus. Now, the great part about giving more attention to your child, or giving attention to your child, is that it is, for the most part, free. Now, there's different types of attention. So there's the physical attention that you want to give, emotional, spiritual, and mental. So there's different kinds of attention you're going to give, right? Of course, the physical attention is going to be pricey. You're going to sometimes, there's an aspect of it where you're going to have to buy clothes. You have to buy shoes. You have to invest in, after school activities or tutoring. And things like that, that's where money comes into play. But the other types of attention, and most of the time, a lot of their childhood and growing up, the attention that a child needs, no matter the age, it doesn't cost really much. They don't really need much. So I know that a lot of moms might be watching this and they might be working, or you are just so busy throughout the day. Maybe you're at home and you're cleaning, cooking, doing chores, washing dishes, and so forth. And you might be asking yourself, how can I give any more attention to my child? I don't feel like getting on the floor with them and playing toys. And I totally understand that, because as an adult and as a parent, some of our interests that we were so interested in when we were children is just not the same anymore. For me, getting down on the floor and playing dolls with my girls, honestly, I don't know. I just don't really enjoy it. Sometimes I do it because it's something that I do for them and I'm a little bit in the mood. But, it just doesn't feel the same as when I was a child and I played. Sometimes I think to myself, like, I wish I knew my kids when I was their age, if that makes any sense. But the best way to pay attention to your child is by talking to them. It's the best way. It's free, and you can do it anywhere, anytime. I talk to my kids all the time. I love conversing with my children. We are either conversing or praying together most of the time. And you can start as early as when they are in the womb. Your child can be literally in the belly, and you can have full-on long conversations with that baby, and that baby will love every little bit that you have to tell it. Trust me, I talked to my baby every single pregnancy, and I would sing to my babies every single pregnancy. And I remember with my second child, my husband can attest to this. She was born, and when she came out, she was crying. She was so mad. She was so angry. And as soon as I said, "I'm here, baby. I'm here. Mama's here. I love you. Welcome," she literally stopped what she did. She literally stopped crying at that very moment. I'll tell you, she was wailing. She stopped, and she was like, she had that one face, like, and then she started, and as soon as I stopped saying that, she started crying all over again. It was like literally, if I can find the footage, I would love to share it. As soon as your baby is born, talk to it, sing to it, talk to it. You might look like the crazy lady at the stores talking to your 3-month-old about everything that you see on the shelf, but that's none of their business. And I have my own mental practices I'd love to share with you in another video on how to really mentally train yourself to just zone in on the moment and not really think about the people around you whenever you're out in public and so on and so forth. So it's a really great mental exercise that we could try together if you like, and it's very helpful for people who, if they have anxiety or find that they think too much about what people think about them. It's a great way to be really present in the moment so that you actually are living in the present moment in your life. Attention can look like teaching your child, reading to them, playing with their toys with them, doing karaoke, finding a video game and playing it with them, finding a show, doing movie time together. While you're in the kitchen, maybe there's something that you're baking or cooking or baking that they can help out with. I'm usually like a fast baker and cooker because I like things out, and because I've got a lot of things to do. But if I look at if I have a day where I'm just like, you know what, like, I don't really have much to do today. I'm caught up on most of my stuff. I'm gonna bake cookies, but this one I can do like a little bit slower. I'll let them join me in the kitchen, and they'll help me like crack the eggs and things like that. And that's because when you have your kids join you in certain activities, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to take longer than if you were to do it, and that's why a lot of us parents usually prefer ourselves to do it. But when you have your child join in on the chores or the activities in the house, even though it takes them a little bit longer to get it done, or maybe it's not as perfect, they're developing and they're learning at that time. They're learning how to do that chore. They're learning how to be independent and how to be hard workers in the house, so that when they finally grow up and they become teenagers, they'll be able to keep up their own chores around the house, be able to get a part-time job when they're older, if that's what they want. Being able to apply that hard work ethic to their side business, their side hustle, building a business, going to school. So they're developing, and it's very important that we don't expect too much out of our children, especially at the ages that they are. We always want to pay attention to how much a child can take depending on their age. I'll do a video talking more about what paying attention might look like, but just briefly, it's going to be talking to them, but also giving them a chance to answer back, and then actively listening to what they have to say and not always correcting them. Sometimes when we overcorrect our children, they might feel like, what's the point of even sharing with mommy or daddy? They're always critiquing me. So there's times and places where we will correct them or try to tell them something, tell them, okay, that was nice, but maybe next time XYZ, but you did great anyways. And so paying attention is also paying attention to their struggles. Sometimes your children will show signs that they need a little bit more attention than the other kids. And what I mean by that is they're always getting into accidents. They're always accidentally hurting themselves, not physically hurting themselves, because if they are hurting themselves on purpose, then that's something that you want to delve deeper in, maybe speak to your doctor about and things like that. But as far as just like accidents happening, getting hurt, a lot of tantrums, a lot of crying, those are signs that a child might be a high needs child. And so there is a type of child that has a personality that one would deem as high needs. Another way to call it, some people call it as clingy or needy, but I don't really like those terms, clingy or needy. High needs child is definitely a type of personality trait for a child that you might be able to notice as soon as they're born. I myself had a high needs child. She's doing amazing now. I love my baby boo. But when she was born, from the moment she was born, she was a high needs child. And her cry was a lot different. Her crawl was so much faster than anyone else that I've raised. She just was very much like a more passionate child, and all she wanted was me all of the time. All three of my children were very much attached to me. I breastfed all of them, and I've been a stay-at-home mom the entire time raising them. But this specific child was definitely like, I couldn't drop her off at the daycare at church. I couldn't really have anyone babysit her. If I had family members babysit her, they'd literally call and ask for me to turn around and pick her up like within the first 30 minutes. And so she some babies are just naturally high needs. And if you do some more research on it, Google it, you'll find articles about it. And it's just something that, it can you might find that might change as they get older. But one thing that we don't want to do is compare our children to each other, because they're just naturally going to be different. And you might want to say, oh, well, is there something that I wasn't doing right when I was pregnant? Did I go through this? Did I go through that? Sometimes genetically, just like the child just comes out just different. You could do whatever you could at the time, but the child just comes out different. And there's nothing that you can do about it except roll with the punches and grow from the experience and do your best to get them to be the best person that they can be, and cater your parenting in a way that helps them be that best person that they can possibly be. And there's just going to be some skills and some traits that one child might thrive in where the other might need a little bit more help with. But eventually I believe that all your children will definitely, if you just tend to them like a garden, the seeds that you plant today will definitely bloom into the nourished, healthy children in the future. So I'll definitely make a video on what's it like raising a high needs child and tips on how to raise a high needs child and give them everything that they need while still taking care of yourself and doing it the best that you can. My daughter, like I said, she was a very high needs child growing up, and now she is just healthy and fine. As soon as I started changing some of the things that I did in approaching her behavior, a lot of things changed. So that was a growing experience, and we're doing great, and I definitely want to share that with you guys. One thing I will say in regards to that, don't call your child bad. Don't ever say, oh, I have a bad child. Proverbs 18:21 says, death and life are in the power of the tongue. So what you say comes to be. Do not ever say to your child or let them hear that you're calling them bad. It's just, or like a misbehaving child. Like, you should always be speaking life to your children and speaking life about them so that they can hear. There's no such thing as a bad child. I believe that if a child is misbehaving, it's because they need some kind of attention, or a specific part of them needs attention some way, somehow. And it's our job as parents to dive deep into what we can do for them and maybe what we need to do within ourselves, because we're not perfect and we need to really reevaluate. Like, we need to be constantly evaluating ourselves, our parenting, and our ways, and our our interactions with our children and our instinctive reactions to them as well. Something I do want to mention is that I think it is very important for us as parents to just kind of take some time to think about what is our background in parenting? How was your spouse raised? How were you raised? What was the background in both of your households? And how were you raised as a child? So I'd like for you to consider, like, were you yelled at a lot? Did you get how were you disciplined? Were you borderline abused? In what way were you abused? What were the holes in your parents' parenting towards you and the children? And how can you do better? And the reason why I say this is oftentimes as parents, we might say, oh, I'll never do this. I'll never do this specific thing that my parent did when I was growing up. And you might have been just like, you might be healing from some trauma or just remember that they did something all the time, and that's something that you never want to do. So sometimes we overcompensate for the thing that we don't want to do because we experienced it growing up, or sometimes we do it to our children and it's like you don't even notice you're doing it. It just comes naturally. And sometimes we think that what comes naturally is what you're supposed to do. Parenting is like something that you do with God. You cannot do it by yourself. You literally have to pray the entire time for God to give you the patience, for the Lord to guide you on what to say, how to, you know, in certain situations, what do I do? Ask for God for guidance. Pray about it. If you have a child that is seeking a little bit more attention than the others, or you know it's starting to get worrisome or a little too high needs, then you know you will want to pray about that so that God can guide you, trying to figure out what's going on and how to give that child the support they need. And then you also want to pay attention to whether or not a child is asking you for enough attention or seeking enough attention. There's a difference between a child being an independent child and not really needing like tons of attention. I have an independent child. She is just, you know, she's not like, she doesn't push me away, but I notice that she doesn't seek it from me. Like she doesn't require it from me all the time. I still give it to her. I'm still going to ask her how she's doing. I'm still going to, you know, invite her, you know, into activities with me. And she very much loves to be a part of my world. I just noticed that she doesn't come seek it from me often. She's very independent. And I love that about her. That I think that's just because she's my oldest. So she's used to being big sister, and she's good, like, you know, sitting down and doing her own thing for a little bit and then coming and checking on me. That's my independent, older big sis first daughter. So every child is different, but you definitely, just because they are known in the family to be a lot more, you know, independent and not attention seeking, doesn't mean that you don't give it to them. You still give it to them. Give them those compliments. Build that confidence in them. You're doing so good in school. I'm so proud of you. Your teacher left an amazing email for me. She told me that you were a big helper. You did so great on your homework. I see that you got a couple wrong. We'll go over that tonight, but you did an amazing job on your homework. Thank you so much for helping your brother put on his shoes. You're such a big helper. Thank you so much. I don't know what I could do without you. I'm so thankful, and just for the little things, like I'm so thankful that you brushed your teeth today without complaining. You know, just really giving them that confidence, randomly giving your kids kisses, randomly giving your kids hugs, randomly telling your children they are beautiful or smart or good looking. Just randomly. Don't wait until they do something to earn it. Don't wait until their hair is done and nicely put together and they're wearing fresh clothes for you to tell them that. Tell them that when their hair is messy and they're walking around with clothes that have stains on it. Because when you pay attention to your child by talking with them, by looking them in the eyes, by being in the same room with them, and they know all of this. They know that when they sit down on the living room floor while you've been sitting on the couch watching your show and you turn off the TV and you get up and walk away and stay in your room because you want your privacy, because all of a sudden you just don't want to be around loud children, they know that when everyone sits down to eat and you put the food down and you get up and you walk into the other room and have your meal because you want to sit in silence, they know they know when you don't want to be around them, and trust me, they're absorbing all of that. So you want to be able to just cheer your children on and show them, like, I like being around you. Just being even in the same room, maybe that they're playing on the floor, yeah, they're being loud, maybe they're on their tablet and you're trying to read something in the living room or trying to watch something, or you're just sitting in the room. They call it holding space. Just being around your children, being around your family, like, it shows, like, I don't mind being around you, I like being around you, we're all together. And that's how you train your kids to want to be around you. And as older as they get, they're going to want to continue to want to be around you. Yes, they're going to want their own privacy. Sometimes you'll have your kid that locks himself in the room. But I love and adore families where they have teenagers that just love sitting on the couch with their parents in the same living room, and maybe the kids are doing something different, but the parents are, watching a movie, and everyone just likes being in the same room with each other. That's the kind of environment that you want to have in your home and in your family life. And it all starts with them as a child. If you don't give them that attention, or hold space, or hug them, or give them kisses, or tell them that they're beautiful, or spend time with them when they're children, they're going to get used to that. And when they get older, when you try to do that, they're going to be like, what are you doing? You didn't do this before. It feels weird. Because it's going to feel weird to them, because it's going to be foreign. So they're going to say, it feels weird. I don't feel comfortable. I'm just going to go back in my room. I like my alone time. And you know what I'm saying? So that's not something that I want for my family at all. And so we are very much entwined together. We are very much always, like, in each other's space. And then there's times when I tell my kids, like, look, mommy needs a break. I'm watching a movie in my room. Let me know if you need anything. Here's snacks. I just need a little break. And sometimes me and my husband, like, just hole up in the room and watch movies and spend time. But then we're back, and the kids know, like, because we're always with them. We're always interacting with them. We're always talking to them. Sometimes we have little parties here with just ourselves. Like, we'll put on the karaoke. We have some like neon lights in the house, and we'll put them on. We'll pop popcorn. We'll sing. We'll dance. We'll play Twister. And, it's a whole vibe. We do these things so often, whether it's like sitting on the couch and just talking about, like, school or our favorite movies or what they learned in Bible school. We're always praying together. That the little bit of times that my husband and I need time away from the kids while we're still under the same roof, where we're like, okay, mommy and daddy's going in the room, we're gonna watch a movie, and we're literally watching a 2 to 3 hour movie, and the kids don't really bother us. They'll knock on the door and ask for a snack, or knock on the door and then they'll go back in the living room and have fun. Like, they don't really bother us because they have confidence in knowing mommy and daddy always pay attention to us, so they deserve this time. And that's where I was just about to lead to, is that when you pay attention to your children in these little minute ways, your children grow confident this way. They grow confident in their relationship with you, and they grow confident with themselves. Meaning that, like we talked about earlier, they're not going to be searching for acceptance from other people. They're going to be confident within themselves. When you give them that attention at home, it gives them that self-confidence in who they are. And you'll start to see that self-confidence when your child is like 2 to 3 years old, because you gave them so much good attention, positive attention while they're a child, like a baby. And once they get to like 2, like, you'll start to see, like, they're confident enough to share their mom with other kids. They'll go to the playground and they'll explore a little bit, and then they'll come back to you, of course, and check on you. They'll explore a little bit and they'll come back to you. Or, they'll see you talking to another child and they won't get jealous. But then there's signs of when a child is really insecure, and that's, there's other signs, which we'll talk about at another video. You raise more confident children when you give them attention. I did also want to mention, I did just say that eye contact is very important. You definitely want to be giving your child eye contact. There is a small study saying that perhaps not giving a newborn, a baby, enough eye contact can lead to certain neurological disorders. I'm not quite sure how true that is, but you definitely want to give your baby eye contact. You want to give your children eye contact when you're talking to them. Look at them. Not giving your child attention is emotional neglect. We can talk about that in a different video, but emotional neglect is just as detrimental to a child's development it's definitely on par with being physically abused. How you think can definitely affect your body. If you don't give your child enough attention, if you are neglecting parts of your child, that can definitely affect your child in ways that is unimaginable. And it goes all the way to their adulthood. I'm sorry to say that, but it's very true. How you speak to your child, how you train, how you raise your child, how you parent your child, the voice, the words that you say to them when they're children literally is engraved in their mind as they grow up. So then you'll see a lot of these adults who are trying to overcome childhood trauma, trying to not be their mother, or trying to get the sound of their mother or father out of their head. Or it really matters how much attention you speak to that you give your child, what kind of attention, and the type of attention. And honestly, all it really takes is really starting off with just having some good conversation and eye contact, holding space and being in the same room with them, laughing with them, listening to their jokes. If they give you a picture like that they draw, like, have like an amazing like response to it. Big them up. Right now, raising your children, you are planting the seeds for tomorrow. How you treat them as they're growing up says a lot to who they may be in your life when they get older. There might be scenarios where a parent has done everything they can and their child just does not grow up the way that they prayed their child would be. And those are the certain exceptions. And I'm sorry about those exceptions. There's not much I can say about that other than prayer and deliverance probably is very much needed. There's probably some other deeper spiritual warfare going on. It might be generational. There might be literally some deliverance that might be needed and psychological help. But that's for a whole different conversation. So I'll talk more. I think I need to make a video on abuse, the different kinds of abuse, and especially like emotional neglect. A lot of parents think that emotional neglect is not a form of abuse, but it is. What I like to do is I like to explain to my kids when I have considered them. It's like I'll show them, I'll make sure to tell them when I consider them so that they feel like, wow, my mom really thought about me today while I was at school, or she thought about me when she went to the store, or that was really considerate of her. Like sometimes I'll grab their toys while I'm cleaning up the house and they're not at home, and like I'll set them up nicely on their bed, or I'll set them up in funny little places around the house, and when they come home they're like, what is going on? Oh, that's so cute. And it's just those little things that I know make a difference in their mind and heart, where they think like, my mom thought about me, like she paid attention to know like this is my favorite doll, and like she put them all together having a tea party in the corner of our room even while she was cleaning the room. And I know like that's a memory that hopefully she'll remember in her heart and mind. And if she doesn't remember that specific memory, like if a child doesn't remember that specific memory in their mind, they're always going to have that feeling in their heart, and it's always going to be stored in their subconscious. That's how you get children when they're older that misbehave or like trauma or dealing with trauma, and like dealing with demons and things like that from their childhood that they don't even fully know the answer to. They don't really fully know what happened. It's all dug deep into our subconscious. So if you like that memory, although she might not remember it fully, it's in her subconscious, and as she's growing up, she's always going to have this just general well-being, sense of well-being, knowing like my mommy tried her best for me. I just know my mommy tried my best for me. Like she always, like my mom and dad like really did everything they could to put a smile on my face, and they care about me. Those are the type of thoughts and memories that you want embedded in their subconscious. Now, sometimes you're not going to be able to give your child attention, and that is totally normal. Like it's like really it's not normal to think that you can give your child attention all the time. We're adults, we have our own lives, we have our own things that we got to go through and do. And so just taking the time to explain to your kids like, hey, not right now, or I can't right now, or I've got to do this, so I need you to do this, like letting them know like you need your time alone, they'll understand. And for the amount of attention that you've given them just through conversation or spending time with them, that self-confidence that I was talking about earlier, definitely will come into play when you tell them, not right now, I don't have the mental capacity right now, or like mommy needs a timeout, I'm a little bit in a bad mood. Having that open conversation with them will grow that confidence in your child to know, like, my mom needs a break, I understand. You know, she's usually very stable minded, she's usually very open with me, she'll spend time with me one way or another, I understand. It's cool. I'll go in the room. And of course, I'm talking about a child that's maybe like four and above. When they're a lot younger, then there's only so much they can understand. I can talk more about having conversations with your child, because I definitely feel like it is totally okay if you tell your child, like, mommy's in a little bit of a bad mood. It has nothing to do with you, but mommy's gonna take a little time out. I just need to lay in bed today. If you want to lay next to me, you can. You can be on your tablet, or you can watch the same movie as me. But I just need to take some time today and just take it back a little. And they'll absolutely love that. They'll love to be cuddled in the bed with you and let you nap and stuff like that. So there's so many different ways, again, that you can pay attention. I am gonna make another video about that. Just a heads up, you know, like things like being on time to events that are important for them, being on time to school, taking care of their physical appearance, making sure that they look good, not in a way of in vanity, but in a way that they feel good. And kids know when they feel good. They know when they smell good and things like that, especially if they're like a child, more so than like a toddler or anything like that. Feeding them healthy meals, explaining to them situations. There's only so much children should know and should not know, but just, you know, talking to them, because it makes them feel like they're important, and no one wants to feel like they're non-important. No one wants to feel like they don't matter. So letting them know that their choices, their opinion is valid in this group of people. Like, I want your opinion. It's valid. I like what you had to say. No, you can't choose that today, but I like that choice, and maybe we'll do that next time. You know, just conversing with your children, you know. I can talk more about that at another time, but just making them feel that they are not a burden. You don't want your children to feel like they are a burden. It definitely takes a toll on their mental health when they feel like they're being a burden, so you don't want to make your child feel like they're a burden. Another way that you can show attention to your child is by putting up their artwork or whatever creative things that they make for you. I know that nowadays people have like this idea as if like their house has to be super aesthetic all the time. So on social media, I don't see too many homes with like tons of like children's artwork up. I mean, that's just social media. I know that there's parents who actually do that. They do post up their kids' artwork. For me, my house is like very interesting home to be in, because we'll literally post things up wherever we like. Sometimes I'll like tape up some of their drawings next to my bed, or in the kitchen. We'll have paintings like in the living room, in the den. We have them everywhere, and sometimes they come down. I take them down and I, you know, store them. But, you know, this is their house. This will always be their house, and I want them to feel proud of themselves. So just not only like making a big deal about the things that they draw for you, but also, you know, displaying it on the fridge or on the walls, and, you know, letting them know like, you're an artist. It's beautiful. I love it. I want to see it every day. I'll also be sharing in depth more information on how to work on your patience as a parent. I know a lot of us might not have gone into parenting with all of the patience in the world. Maybe you thought you were going to be a lot more patient with your children than you actually are. Maybe they tip you over to, you know, past where you want to be sometimes. And so patience is a skill that some people are blessed with right away, but sometimes you have to develop that. And it's totally normal to lose your cool, but you have to be in control even when you lose your cool. So it's also very easy, if you have multiple children, to get lost in the bulk system. What I mean by that is, if you have more than one child, you kind of bulk your children up, thinking that, okay, we're all doing this as a group activity, we're all playing this game, we're all baking together, we're all watching a movie together, we all went to this amusement park together, we all went to the playground together, we all went to the splash pad together, we all painted together, you know, I gave you all kisses and hugs all before you went to school. That's the bulk system. You gave everyone attention and you guys spent time together as a family, so that's the attention that you give, and then you think that that's enough. But every child needs individual care. Now, there's a marriage therapist out there, marriage and family therapist out there, who advises to give each child 6 minutes out of an hour of like individual attention. No one's doing all that. No one's looking at a clock and doing all that, right? But what I will say is just take some time out every day if you can, or each and every day, just to give, you know, that one child a special hug and a kiss randomly. Or, just every child is different. Like, they're their own individual selves. So I think that just finding little moments of pockets of time where you spend that little time with them individually, or you're talking to them specifically to them, is really nice. I think that they really appreciate it, and they feel like mama sees me. My mommy sees me. I know she loves all of us, but she also sees me. They children want to be seen, they want to be heard, and they want to feel important. So you might be brushing your teeth, and one of them comes in and is just like jumping around on the bed while you're brushing your teeth. What they're doing is just being in your world in that moment. While the other siblings are in the living room watching a movie, that one came in the room jumping on the bed because they wanted to be in your world for a moment. So while you're brushing your teeth, you can kind of like look at them, make silly faces. When you're done, talk to them. Just make random conversation instead of shooing them out. Or like, I might be washing the dishes, and one of them is like walking past me, and I'll be like, here, come, give me a kiss. And they'll stop, and I'll give them a kiss, and I'll be like, you're such a big helper. I'm really grateful for you. I'm like, thanks. And then they'll just keep walking. Or like, one day, my two girls, they were doing something. I forgot what they were doing. I think they were in the other room, and they were doing, they were using the tablets. And I was in the kitchen. I was about to make cookies, and Roman just started crying for no reason. My son, he just started crying randomly. And I was just like, you know what? Let's go. You want to help me bake cookies? So I pulled him up, and he started baking cookies with me. And it's funny because my girls came out of their room, and they saw him baking cookies with me, but they didn't ask to help. They were like, oh, okay. And then they're like, oh, he's baking cookies. Okay. Wow, Roman. And then they just like kind of checked out what he was doing, and they went back in their room and did their tablets. And that kind of like surprised me a little bit, because I was like, usually if they see one person doing something, they all want to do it, especially if I'm in the kitchen, I'm letting someone help me. But I also was not really that surprised, because I felt like they know that their time will come. And we've baked enough cookies before all together for them to know like that time will come. Like, it's not the last time that I'll ever let them bake cookies with me. And if you find that you can't find that time individually with the child, take advantage of times when one of the children are napping or whatnot. Sometimes you just have to schedule like an individual date. My husband and I have done that before, where like he'll take one child and I'll take the other, and I get to spend that one-on-one time with one of them, and then we'll switch, and then I'll get to spend one-on-one time with the other. Or he'll take the girls, and then I'll have Roman at home, and I'll just spend time with Roman. And so we sometimes have to schedule those times because they're always together, and with the girls being close in age, you usually tend to group them up together. But it's nice to pull each child aside randomly from time to time, whether it's a date out or inside of the house, just a random kiss or a random word of affirmation meant specifically for them. That's how you train up your kids to be able to clap for other people in different like competitions at school, in after school activities, clap for other people in class. That, being able to teach them like, there is no competition. Like, you have to be secure enough to be able to clap for other people and be happy for other people. And the way that happens, in my opinion, is by giving them that attention and building that relationship with them while they're young, so that they're not in deficit for attention and accolades. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I feel like when a child is in deficit, where they don't get it enough, that's when they start getting like that jealousy and competition from other people. If they feel full and their cup is full within themselves, and you have that open conversation with them, because every moment with your children is a learning moment. They're going to know like, Okay, it's not always about me. Yes, they won. Let me clap for them. I really wanted that award, but it's fine, and my time will come. Okay, sorry guys. I am recording on my phone right now, so I don't know if you can tell if there's like a difference in the quality of the video. My camera just died, and no, my camera ran out of memory on its card, and so I just wanted to go ahead and slip this in the video real quick. Kids want to feel like they matter, so once they feel that they matter, once it's instilled in them that they matter, my mom and dad love me, my home, my household gives me everything that I need, you're gonna notice that there's gonna be less tantrums. They're easier to calm down if they are having like any tantrums. They're gonna build that self-confidence like we talked about. They're gonna be more helpful around the house and in the community around them. They're gonna be healthy self-soothers, and they're gonna be wiser children. So yeah, like it really benefits the child in so many more ways than we think. They're gonna just automatically, like, children have tantrums, like that's normal, right? That's their way of showing us like that they don't want to do something or putting their foot down, and you know, we try to get them in line. But it's normal for them to have tantrums. And you know, oftentimes when you see a child, an older child, having like severe tantrums, it's because they feel like they're not in control. So when you give them the self-confidence to know that they're important, their thoughts are important, you know, and maybe we might not always agree with it, or we might not always go with what they want or request, but at the end of the day, they are important in our family. We see them, their words are heard, and we see them and we hear them, and we're paying attention to them. You're just gonna get like less tantrums. I rarely get any tantrums with my kids, and the small times that I do, I will say like they get themselves together real quick, and it's all just conversation. I hardly yell at my kids or like have to really discipline them. We talk through their tantrums. They gather themselves together there, and I'm teaching them self-soothing methods, how to calm themselves down, how to think positive thoughts so that they know how to get themselves out of like, you know, like thoughts, out of mindsets that they don't like. So if they're feeling like rejected or left out at school or whatever like that, I'm teaching them how to self-soothe themselves mentally. Because if you don't teach them those kind of tools, then they're gonna find other ways to self-soothe when they get older, which is through drugs, alcohol, peer acceptance with the wrong people, and things like that. So like I said, you just will start noticing that your children are going to be a lot more helpful, because they're going to want to help because they feel already appreciated, and they feel like they're getting enough attention at home that they're going to want to just help around the house. They're going to always ask to do things. They're going to find things to do, or if you ask them to do stuff, they're going to do it willingly, because it's their way of like paying you back subconsciously for all the love and attention you give them. I'm not kidding. Like, I'll ask my kids to do things around the house, and they are doing it with a happy heart, and they're glad to help. They're very helpful and obedient children. I am not trying to brag. My children are very helpful and obedient, and it's because I've given them all of that attention and love, and they know they are very important to me, and their words are very important, and the time that we spend together is very important. So as I pour into them, they absolutely love pouring into me. There are times when they know like I'm working too hard, and they tell me, Mama, today is a spa day. You're gonna relax. You're not gonna do anything. You know, I'll cook and I'll put food on the table, and they'll say, Mama, aren't you gonna sit down and eat with me? You're gonna eat now, okay? Like, I want you to sit down. What about you? Like, they're always constantly thinking about me, and it's because they know I'm constantly thinking about them. So, one last thing, if you notice that your child is needing just a little bit more attention than the others, and it's just like a little bit like worrisome, and you'll know in your heart if it's like something to be worried about, you're gonna want to delve deep into why are they behaving this way. Is it like a little bit dangerous? Are they, like we talked about earlier, are they hurting themselves? Are they hurting others? Are these tantrums like so bad, like you can't even control it? There's no talking them out of it. Are they doing things that are putting themselves in danger, like making themselves get lost at the mall, or making themselves get lost at the park, or doing just dangerous stunts? Like, those are signs of like a child really going through something emotionally and mentally. So you might want to question why, and you really want to dig, really think about like who's, you know, are they being babysat? How's their environment at school? Do they have a bully? What am I doing? Is there something that I'm doing that's not working for the child? Because, you know, we can definitely work on ourselves as parents in raising our kid. And then have them explain to you what they need, and then definitely seek, you know, that assistance. Take them to the doctor, maybe have them be seen with a therapist, and pray about it. Speak with your pastor, pray about it, and get people that are prayer warriors, real praying people. You don't want to tell everybody about your business about your children. It's nobody's business about like your personal life and your family. It's not everyone's business. You might think that you're seeking like advice from people, but just be careful who you're asking advice for. Look for parents that are seasoned, who possibly have already raised their children and their children are like teenagers or adults, for you to ask those questions. But you're definitely going to want that spiritual aspect too. But like I said, there's a point where like that attention seeking thing might be a little bit more like, might be something else much more serious. Maybe like there's like a disability, a disorder, or something going on at school, or, you know, that we need to find out. So that's all of my tips on, am I giving my child enough attention? I am so glad you clicked on this video. It just lets me know that there are parents out there that are interested in doing the best they can to raise their children in love and raise their children to be, you know, wonderful mothers, fathers, and people of the society and the community around them. What you're doing for your children by watching this video and trying to fix stuff within you, within your spouse, within your family dynamic, and working on paying attention to your children, literally is going to positively affect your children's lives for generations to come. So you're making a big difference, and it starts with this video, right? So thanks so much again for watching this video. I hope that it sees you well. I hope it makes a difference. If it does make a difference in your life, or you think it might make a difference in someone else's life, I invite you to share it with somebody who might need to hear it. Comment below, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your advice on providing your kids with the attention that they deserve and need. Like this video, subscribe to my channel if you want to be a friend, and until next time, bye.